So obviously, like we said, you're at the top of the game when it comes to editing and creating these incredible movies. But my question is for the much smaller guys and people like myself and other YouTubers who are making, short form content and much more basic video stuff. Do you have any tips, resources, courses or tools that helped you, which might help up the game and ability of our content on these platforms too?
That's really, it's a great question. The thing is that the industry is constantly evolving. Okay, so what I was learning on 20 years ago was not available on every laptop, but now it is. You can even edit on your phone, for free. But the real trick is to keep doing it and do it as often as you can and fail as quickly as you can so that you can start to improve. There's a theory that it takes 10,000 hours to get good at something, which I think is true. You can get good at anything that you want to if you practice it for 10,000 hours. Now, that sounds like a lot of time, but actually, realistically, it's about 4 years of really hard work. So if you were to work, 200 days a year, for 10 hours a day, or say 250 days a year, let's say, if you've got 365 days a year, if you take off weekends, that roughly leaves 250 days a year. And if you work for 10 hours a day, that's 2,500 hours a year. So 4 years, you can do 10,000 hours. And if you wanted to learn the guitar or learn the violin or learn the drums or learn to cook or learn to paint or whatever it is that you want to, if you literally did it for 10 hours a day for 4 years, you would be very good at it. And so I feel like that is a really good metric with which to kind of guide yourself through your learning adventure, And if you want to make films, you should write a little one-page script on a Friday and film it with your friends on a Saturday, and then edit it together on a Sunday with music and sound effects, and put it on YouTube on a Sunday night. And if you do that, every week for a year, you'll have made 50 short films, and you will have learned a lot. You would have made a lot of mistakes, and honestly, within 1 or 2 films, you'll soon learn how important sound recording is and all that stuff, which you think is really simple when you start, but actually is essentially important, in order to make the film watchable. So the other thing is there's a really great online editing course called Inside the Edit, which is a gift, really, if you want to learn how to edit. It's run by a friend of mine, a guy called Paddy Bird, who's a very, very experienced editor. He has an amazing podcast called Once Upon a Timeline. And honestly, it's the best editing podcast in terms of the creativity of editing, not about whether you use Avid Media Composer or Premiere or Final Cut. He just talks about the creative instinct that you need to hone behind editing. And his online course is absolutely fantastic. And he has free taster courses as well. So you don't even, need to pay anything up front in order to experience it. But that I think is a really great resource to learn about, all the different aspects of creative editing. But yeah, the main advice is just to do it as much as you can and to fail as quickly as you can so that you improve as quickly as you can.